All right. It's your boy, Noel Osborne. So we are here at an event, and your buddy over here. Tell the people your name.
Calder.
What are we doing?
We're smoking cigars.
We're smoking cigars. What are we smoking?
We're smoking Rocky Patel.
Rocky Patel. Rocky Patel. Tell us a little bit about Rocky Patel.
He makes cigars. He makes some damn good ones.
Grab a cigar and tell the people.
Cut it, light it.
Cut it and light it. What are you smoking?
Well, I'm Nick Broom with Kretek International, representing Rocky Patel in Canada. We're the distributors of Rocky Patel, along with other brands. And our goal is to bring the very best cigars to Canadian retailers and Canadian consumers. So we're changing the model of bringing cigars to Canada. The old model of distributors bringing in the products, planting a flag, and saying we are the company, those days are over. What we believe in what we do. We believe in bringing the brands to Canada that will best represent the brands, as opposed to us coming in and representing Rocky, and then tomorrow representing Gurkha, and the next day Ferio Tego. We want to bring their message to the market. We want them to be connected to the market. So we created the Access Canada Cigar Access Program. So it's for the vendors to have access to the Canadian market, and for the Canadian market to have access to good cigars. So that's what we've done to change. And it's a process. It's taking time, but that's what we're doing. That's the direction we're heading in. What got me into cigars, actually, just by happenstance. I knew a guy who was organized more in the operations world, and I started running a small cigar company out of Brampton, and started running their operation, getting to know, knew very, very little about cigars, got into the logistics. How do we handle logistics going back and forth? And then really took a liking to the art, the passion, the romance behind it. So, you could ship anything. You could ship paper products. But there's something about cigars is really the connection that it brings with people. You could have a room of cigar smokers, and you could have a guy that works in HVAC. You can have a teacher, a lawyer, and a politician, and it's the great equalizer.
Absolutely.
They all just talk. We talk about the cigars. We talk about anything and everything, and there's no grudge between anybody. There's nobody that's better or worse than anybody. It's just a great equalizer. We're there. It's like our tree house.
Absolutely.
It's our tree fort. We get up into the tree fort, and we just have a cigar. My favorite cigar, it moves around with the environment. It moves around with the setting that you're in. Tonight I smoked a Rocky Patel ALR2, and I could easily say that's my favorite cigar. But I've also had a cigar called a Piel Rojas out of Colombia one time, and it was an incredible cigar. I'm sure if I smoked it today, I probably wouldn't think it was. But what happened was, when we had that cigar, I had it with a friend who had just been cheated on by his girlfriend, and he came over with a bottle of tequila, and we had the cigar, and it will forever be my favorite cigar. Why is that? It was the experience.
Yeah.
Had an experience with someone, we were bonding, the flavors of that cigar just came out, and it's forever locked in my mind about what that cigar was. So the cigar is the experience. Now, I enjoy smoking cigars on my own. There's an experience there. It's you move off into another dimension when you're smoking these cigars, and you're really enjoying it. But smoking cigars in a communal environment with friends just takes the cigar experience to another level. Welcome to the couch, Calder. All right, Calder, here we are in this beautiful night. First of all, thank you for having us, and just a beautiful setting full of great people.
Well, thank you for being here.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with cigars. How did you get into this?
I started as a retail tobacconist, and my first cigar was 16. My older brother gave me, I think it was a Don Tomas, and that was it.
That was it, and you were hooked.
It was just a great bonding moment, right?
Absolutely.
Just a time to sit there for hour and a half, and nothing else going on. It's
Absolutely.
just in the moment, right? So, you know, that's really what got me into cigars.
Beautiful.
You know, smoking with buddies, with it's just a great chance to sit down, you know, put everything else in the world aside, and
Beautiful. Tell us a little bit about the different cigars, the New World cigars, the Cuban experience. What does the environment look like with that balance of New World and Old World?
you know, Cuba is there's a very loyal customer base for Cuban cigars, and some of them will never ever try non-Cubans, or they've tried them and just don't like them and don't want to try anymore. But there's I'd say the majority of our consumers in Western Canada are very, very open to, you know, so-called New World cigars,
Yeah.
Nicaraguan, Honduran, Dominican, and that's, you know, I think the majority of what's popular in Western Canada now. Brands like Rocky Patel. I think the Cuban days are kind of over. For some people, they're willing to pay the price. I think most people see that the value is now outside of Cuba. Innovation is outside of Cuba.
Now, Cubans have a particular flavor. There's something that just can't be replicated, and there is a real beauty to it. Unfortunately, with supply and demand and some of the natural disasters and issues that they've had in Cuba, both political, environmental, you feel for the people of Cuba. You feel for the quality. You feel for what is that heritage that is withered away, or definitely is not what it used to be. But there still is a something beautiful about Cuban. That's where the origin of modern day cigar smoking came from. So there's much respect to Cuba. Now Nicaragua, me having been down there, Honduras and the Dominican, and seeing the attention to detail that goes into building that, because you're building something that is not an image. You have to build something new. Have you seen, what brands do you see out of that are really making a name for themselves in terms of quality, in terms of a new, of course, we'll talk about Rocky, but other brands as well. What brands are you seeing that are really pushing the envelope and making a splash in the cigar scene?
Well, a lot of the big brands are, of course, always going to be popular. But a lot of boutique brands that are really making a splash in Canada. I did include even Ferriotego in that category. Really kind of bringing Nat Sherman back to life.
Yep.
They're making some great cigars. The Elegancia is
Yep.
fucking fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to trying the Generoso and Suma and a few of the other cigars. So I'm glad Kretek is bringing those into Canada. There's a few other boutique brands out there that are that have become really popular. And real estate in the humidor is always an issue, but there's a huge appetite for new cigars in Canada.
Yeah.
People are aware that a lot of new stuff is available in Canada, and people want to try it.
Beautiful.
They're kind of jealous of the availability in the United States, and now we're getting kind of some of that variety in Canada. Obviously not at the same price point, but people are very passionate.
So what we're trying to do is bring more brands to give people the options.
Yeah.
We know that that's going to happen, but we want to make retailers relevant and having those boutiques and having those options. Yes, space is limited, and that's for what we're creating as a platform for U.S. brands to compete. We want them to compete for that space, and we want them to be connected to the Canadian market, to be able to bring their products and showcase them, as opposed to just selling them to a distributor and letting the distributors do their work. We want them to compete on the merits of the brand. And
Too much for me.
It's tough. You're watching Cigar Talk with Noel Osborne. And we have had a great group of people on the show today. Calder, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, you're always on the show. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Now it's time just to enjoy, smoke, and talk some shit. See you guys.